You don't have to go off on the tangent, but we can touch a little on the recruiting if you want. Really, this is just kind of me seeing what your thoughts are, and then me reacting to whatever your thoughts may be.
Say Edwards, he didn't sign, right?
Well, he's not making his decision till the 11th.
Okay.
So it's not official till the 11th.
I will go kind of like his first name is Anthony, isn't it? Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, it is. We're good there because I know his first name's Anthony. I just get confused. Is his last name Edwards or Edmund?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it is Edwards because like I hear.
So yeah, if you're confident on the last name, I'm confident on the first name. We're good.
let me look it up real fast just to check. But yeah, it's Anthony Edwards. So yeah, as soon as you're ready to start, we'll start.
I'm ready to go, man.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown on this beautiful Thursday edition. The weather's not beautiful, but Big Blue Nation is beautiful, and the season's going beautiful. Your host, as always, Matthew Lyle. I've been talking Kentucky all week. It's my favorite thing to do. I'm joined, as always, the one, the only, Michael Bucknasty. How you doing today, sir?
Dude, I am beautiful, beautiful day. Even though it is raining, if you walk outside, it feels like spring, man. And that tells me two things here, Matthew. Kentucky's playing great, and April's getting close. That championship's getting closer and closer and closer.
Well, let me tell you, there's two things. If you live in Kentucky, if you're around Kentucky, there's two things that Kentucky's going to give you. One is great Kentucky basketball, and two, crazy weather. Because you're right. It is a nice 60 degrees outside, but don't go out there because it's doom and gloom. Tomorrow,
snow.
We're going to give you some sun, but it's going to be 30. So nothing says more Kentucky, bourbon, horse racing, basketball, and bad weather.
Yeah.
And I say bad in the sense you can't rely on it.
I'm saying bad because it is 65 degrees in February, and I bet you by April 7th, or what, Easter's April 13th, I think, there'll be snow on Easter.
I think April, actually, not to really derail the show, but for some reason, I think Easter's like April 21st. I think it's like way in the end of the year.
Yeah, is it?
But I can assure you, April will it's either going to snow or be 75.
Right.
It won't be a nice 50 breezy day.
No.
All right. If we haven't lost anybody, because you can hear what we're talking about.
Weather's on the 8th, brought to you by Matthew Lyle.
Exactly. Because like I said, if you're in here for the weather, I can assure you there are more reliable and better sources for you to go to. But let's talk what we enjoy talking about. Let's go Kentucky basketball. Tuesday night, we got a really solid win. Like I'm a really good win. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Trying to provide a really good win versus South Carolina. What's your takeaway on that?
Well, my takeaway is we finally played a complete game. Me, you, and Chris have a little chat group that we have, and I posted in the chat, we are in a dogfight. Like, it was the first 10 minutes of the game. We were going back and forth with South Carolina. Like, I believe it was like 14-12 or something to that effect. And I believe at one point it was 24-22, and then we just went on this run. And it was very, very impressive to end that first half. And then in the second half, we just came out and we played lights out. It was a very, very good team win. I really enjoyed, as much as I hate to say this, I'm kind of glad that Reed Travis and Nick both got in foul trouble early. It kind of gave us a chance to see what EJ Montgomery could actually do. And I think we kind of all know what he can do, but he is definitely the fourth guy in the post coming off the bench, just from judging from what I saw in the first half there.
So let me say this about the full game situation. You have to realize, even though Kentucky is the big bad wolf of the SEC is still a Power 5 conference. It's still a big school. It's still Division I. So South Carolina has some of the best kids from their state.
Yeah.
South, when we play
and they have a great
Georgia,
coach. They have a fantastic
right.
coach.
But when you play Georgia, when you play Vanderbilt, these aren't kids that go to bad high schools. These are some of the best kids from their respective state. They're the biggest fish in their school. Now, are they the best kids in the country like Kentucky, Duke, those schools have? No, but they're still the best kids. So you have to know that for your first 10 minutes, you're going to get their best. You're going to get best Mr. South Carolina basketball's best. You're going to get Mr. Florida basketball's best. What good teams do is they say, that's all you have is 10 good minutes. I'm going to put you out of your misery in the last 20. What the reason you see these teams win, these teams that shouldn't win, and this is where Kentucky's kind of fell in the past, where we're obviously better, is we lollygag around, and then, they go through their 10-minute spurt, they get tired, they run out of talent. Their talent doesn't run out, but one of my favorite sayings is fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Yeah.
That
could be more true. Yeah.
That middle part becomes kind of a wash. But then if we dilly-dally around and the good team's giving a bad team hope, well, these kids are still good enough to give you 10 more minutes. And if in that final 10 minutes it's a close game, now you take all the rankings out the window.
Yeah.
But if Kentucky says, sorry, Mike, but if Kentucky says, you know what, I know you're going to give me your best 10 minutes, that's fine. And it's going to be 22-20. But good luck withstanding this next 10 minutes when it's 42-28. And now you're like, you see the defeat in their eyes.
Yeah.
And props to this team to seeing it and hitting them with the old Mortal Kombat finish him. And it was done.
Right. And like, just to add to your fatigue statement there, confidence is like if a team has confidence after that first 10 or 12 minutes, like a bad team, like let's flashback to the Vanderbilt game there. We did not put the knife in their throat early, and they kind of hung around. They got that confidence, and then we were in a dogfight. So I'm really glad that we put the nail in the coffin quick, because Frank Martin, he is a great coach, and he would have rallied, and he has the teaching abilities to keep those kids' heads in it and like give them all the confidence in the world if it was a closer game at like halftime.
I mean, if you just look at the game, this is why I love this team so much, and I won't stop saying that till this year's over, and I will still hold it true until another team can come in and take that away. Look at the games. Hey, first off, look at the games we've lost. Kids have played out their mind. Even that Duke game, which I think Duke's on the, we're the same level. I think we can beat them. They can beat us. If we played 10 times, it'd be 5-5. Zion, those kids shot out their mind. Yeah. Zion Williams had his best shooting night. That everybody, because now if you've watched Duke, some of their, Zion and Barrett's ball, but the other guys have kind of had nights off. Everybody on that team played out their mind. You look at Seton Hall, the kid who does score a lot of points, but there's a difference between scoring a lot of points and then hitting 8 straight big three-pointers.
Right.
What he did. Dude played out of his mind. Auburn or Alabama, the guy came out and was 6 for 6 of his first three-pointers. Dude played out of his mind. Texas A&M, we got down 10-0 because for the first 10 minutes, the confidence, the energy, the excitement, for that 10 minutes, they were able to be better than us. But fatigue set in, and they were just so bad that even once we took that away from them, there was nothing for them to have.
Yeah, there's nothing.
So I'm speaking to fans. I'm speaking to the players. Not players are listening, but if you're a player and you're listening, you're going to have to expect the first 10 minutes is going to be the best 10 minutes of basketball this person's ever played in their life. And it's what you do the second 10 minutes, which is going to dictate that entire game. Because if you take their best punch and you're still standing there, I imagine if I get in the ring with a great boxer or a great fighter, and I've been working out so hard and I've been practicing, I have this, I'm a left-handed guy and I have this southpaw hook, and I come out there and I hit him with that southpaw hook in the first minute, and he takes it and he's not even phased, I am done.
Yeah.
Because that was my best shot, and now I'm about to get my butt whipped. So if you can take the best shot from any team, I don't care if it's Duke or if it's Austin Peay, if you can take their best shot for that first 10 minutes and bounce back that second 10, you will win every game you have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
All right, Mike. Who was your MVP of this game?
I really don't think I can give it to one guy, but if I have to, if you're really twisting my arm to pick a guy, I'm going to have to go with Jamal Baker off of the bench. He came in there early, and he gave us 5 or 7 really quick points when we were in that dogfight with South Carolina still, and I was really impressed by that. And then I believe it was the first 3 that he hit. You just saw kind of the shoulders of the South Carolina just go down, and like that was, and like that's when we started throwing our haymakers. So I think Baker would have to get my MVP vote for this game.
Okay, so we're all Kentucky fans here. There's no wrong answer, but Mike's answer made my answer even easier. The easy answer is obviously to go PJ because the kid gave you 20 and I forgot how many rebounds. But the kid, he's been doing that he's been doing that so much that it's almost become boring. And you hate to say that. I hate to take something away from him. So I'm going to give it to something new and shiny, and I'm going to go E.J. Montgomery. I mean, you come off the bench. By this point in the season, you could have given up on this team. Whether or not it's for good, or whether it's not just for this season, whether or not, because he's 18 years old. He could have easily said, you know what, I'm not going to play much this year, but man, that offseason, I'm going to get in the weight room, I'm going to hit the weights, and my sophomore year, I'm going to be the new PJ. But he didn't. I mean, here we are, halfway through the season. Kid's not played very much. I think he played like 10 minutes more this game than he's averaged all season.
Yeah.
And he was able to just impose his will when he was out there. Look, I'm going to say this in one sense of the word, so everybody pump the brakes. Watching him do what he's good at reminds me of watching KD do what KD is good at. Because, no, he's not the pure shooter, but when he does do when E.J. Montgomery does do what he's good at, it's so smooth. Those rebounds just seem to come right to him. Those dunks, those little putbacks, he's not jamming on anybody. He's not cocking back and whamming on a guy's face, but he's just got like a smooth, like Joe Cool. I imagine if he can get his shot down, he will be, whether it be next year, whether it be in the pros, he's going to be the guy that when you need a big shot, you go to him because he doesn't get emotionally involved.
Right.
And everything he does, he's just Joe Cool. He's smooth. EJ Smooth. That's what we just call EJ Smooth. I like that.
New nickname.
EJ Smooth. Because he just glides. And, I'm not going to – I hate to steal one guy's nickname to someone else, but they used to call KD the Slim Reaper because he was, of course, tall and skinny, but he also just glided everywhere like a Reaper, just smooth, just like a ghost. And even better name, EJ's new nickname is Ghost. He just glides out there. He makes you pay.
No, I don't like that name. No,
I'm going Ghost. I'm going Ghost. You can go whatever you want. I'm going Ghost.
Just think about this. He is here 1 minute and he's gone the next. That is what a Ghost does. Like we need him to be around all game or all season. So
nicknames can stick for multiple reasons. So maybe he's ghosting it today, but tomorrow he's ghosting it in the good way.
So how about the creepy neighbor next door? Because she's always peeping in the house, checking me out.
See, we've gone too far. We don't want to know about your neighbors.
She's weird. She's weird.
Big Blue Breakdown has a lawsuit on his hand now. If you're a lawyer, give us a call. Hopefully you're cheap because we definitely can't afford it. Pro bono work, hopefully.
We'll give you a good ad spot.
The Hammer. Hey, speaking of ad spots, let me just derail this even more. If you're from this area, did you see the Hammer Super Bowl ad?
No, I didn't.
The Hammer. If you're from the Louisville, Lexington area, you know who the Hammer is. His commercials are of stuff of legends. He's up there with Tony Melito. He opened up the wallet. He put up a Super Bowl ad. It was amazing. Go check it out. I strongly encourage the Hammer. All right. Let's move on just a little bit. Let's peek into the future. We put the past behind us. Saturday at Mississippi State, 1:00 game. They're probably going to be hyped. Are we going to be hyped? Typically, when you have to, because let's be real, Starkville and Lexington's not that close. Can you really how realistically can we travel? You get off work Friday evening. Can you make it down to Starkville for a 1:00 game? I don't know what to expect. Give me your Give me your expectations, Mike. Give me your concerns. Give me your outcome. What you got?
So let's start with the concerns here. One of the biggest concerns here is that Mississippi State is no longer ranked. And we have two ranked opponents coming up the following week. We have LSU and Tennessee coming up after that. And like I've seen fans since we who do we beat? It was like two games ago when we won. Like I
Florida?
saw, yeah, it was the Florida game. People were saying we want bowls. They want bowls, and we went on the show saying, "Hey guys, pump the brakes. We still have 14 days, or it was 15 days, maybe even just like at that point." And I think we are looking past this Mississippi State team a little too much because we do have LSU coming, we do have Tennessee coming, both big home games, both ranked opponents. And Mississippi State is not ranked. So my biggest concern is that we are overlooking this team and we come out sluggish in the first half. And as history repeats itself, when we play these not so great SEC teams, they come out hot in that first 10 minutes. They will hit five or six threes in a row. They'll go on a 20-point run where they don't have a shot missed. It'll be something crazy just like that. So what I expect out of this game is I expect us to weather that storm. Mississippi State is going to come out hot, but I think our talent and the player and the playing of the bench that we have, it will come to show in the second half. So the first half is going to be really, really sloppy, really, really ugly for us, meaning like we're only going to score, I don't know, 27 to 32 point range. It's just going to be one of those games where this sucks. And then the second half, we're going to come out and play lights out and end up putting 65 on them.
Okay, hey, I'm right there with you because one thing that you kind of brought to my mind there when you was talking about these concerns, you're absolutely right. We do have Mississippi State. And then we have two ranked opponents, LSU and Tennessee. If you want to look at an even bigger picture, 3 of our next 4 are ranked when you count in Auburn. Yeah. 4 of our next 6 when you count in at Tennessee. And then if you want to maybe Ole Miss is still ranked, that could be 5 ranked teams of our remaining, 10 games? Mm-hmm. That's definitely a big picture to look at. And something else I'm interested in. If you look at it, Mississippi State is about the only team since Alabama – maybe you can put Florida in that box too, where they're a tournament team. They're not a bad team. They're not a Vandy. They're not a Texas A&M. They're not a South Carolina. They're a tournament team, but yet they're not ranked. Every team we face has either been ranked or really just kind of a bad team. Now, They played the teams that tried to play good, but they're just bad teams. Florida kind of, it depends on what bracketology you look. I personally think Florida will get in as a 12 seed because I think they're going to be up for a run in the SEC tournament. But other than that, Alabama was the last team that was a tournament-style team that was not ranked, and you saw how that went.
Yeah.
So I can easily, to your point, Mike, I can easily see us going in there with that, hey, we're playing Texas A&M mentality, getting down 14, getting down double digits, and it not being that easy to come back. However, I did watch that Florida game, watched every second of it, and I'm not as nervous about that. I do think, to your point, a lot of that is true. I think everything you said will kind of unfold. I think we're going to play. I think we're going to come out. I truly think we're going to – look, let me go both ends of the spectrum. I think we're going to win either way. I think we're either going to win very close, and I'm talking like it's going to be kind of ugly. Like, we come out there playing horrendous. The first half, we might go into halftime lose, but down by 12. And then we just come back and we find a way to win. We scrap it out. I don't know what the final – I think the final score is going to be 8, but I think a lot of that's going to come by fouls. Or we're going to play the best game all season. Something tells me with this team, you always have to put that asterisk. You have to say that we're either going to be in a dogfight or we're going to win by 40. And there's really no in-between where you get like a 10-point early win and you just kind of cruise.
Right.
This team either gets itself in a dogfight almost because it likes the challenge. This team is so good, in my opinion, that it gets bored and it likes the challenge. Because if you look at these rosters, Ashton Hagans plays his best when the guy he's guarding is trying to take something from him, trying to take real estate from him. Tyler Hero loves to put the nail in the coffin. Keldon Johnson loves that environment. P.J. Washington loves that environment. Nick Richards is finally glad to be in this type of environment. And then it just kind of trickles itself into the bench. I think Emmanuel Quickley has that same kind of love for that environment. So I think sometimes they kind of like it. I don't think they do it on purpose, but I think they get kind of bored. They can't really strike that match. And then in the second half, when they're down by 10, when they're down by 8, they get this rush. They get this adrenaline that can't be replaced by practice.
A sense of urgency, like, hey, we're getting ready to lose this game. It's time to step up and play.
It's like a thrill of danger. I mean, it's like one of those people who like to put themselves in bad situations because they like the thrill of the rush. They like the danger. And obviously this is basketball, so there's nothing too dangerous going on here. But I think they like that. I don't think they like to put themselves in that situation. But on the same token, I think that mindset, when they do come out and they are feeling it, and they're just kind of lollygagging around but still hitting shots, and they get up by 12 and they see you're defeated, they see the look on your face, I think this team also likes that and likes toying with you, likes putting you out of your misery, likes passing it around too many, almost like the Golden State Warriors, but obviously not as good. They like to pass it around way too many times just to hit a crazy buzzer beater shot. It's like they like toying with you.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this team likes to either procrastinate, get down, and then they feel alive, or they're toying with you, then they feel alive, and then they just dominate. The middle ground. So that's how I think. I know that's two answers there, but I think you're going to see one of the two. You're either going to be very frustrated and very nervous, or you're going to be tuned out by second half, just kind of peeping when you get a chance because they've already blown it open. So.
And like, I think I am on that first part. Like, I think it's just going to be a very ugly game all game. And you're going to be like, man, like, we just need something to go our way, and nothing ever goes our way.
Until Tyler Hero hits a big three.
Right.
Boom. I feel like that's the thing that's going to be like you're right. Like, it's just going to feel so – because if you're like me, the ones you find most frustrating is when nothing's going your way and you're down by like 6.
Right.
Like, by no means can you give up. You just don't know where that 6 points is coming from.
Yeah.
You're just like, what's going on? And I can see that being this. And then, and it never fails, there's always that one player that you're like, dude, you're playing horrible. And then you look and he had like 26 points.
Right.
Because it was like a very frustrating, hard-earned 26 points. So, yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, obviously, I think both could happen, but if I had to lean towards one, and I think it would help this team, it would behoove them in the long run. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I could see this game being one of those ones where with 4 minutes to go, you're down 5. A couple of lazy shots go in, a couple of ugly possessions on the other side. Like, just the whole thing be ugly. And then we find ourselves tied with 2 minutes. Tyler Hero, whoosh, big three. Then Ashton Hagans does what he does, gets a turnover. You got a foul. He hits those free throws. You're down 5 with 1:50 left. You get desperate. Then we're going to definitely out-rebound you when you're getting desperate and jacking up shots. And then you send it to the foul line. That I could – actually, I'm changing that. I do think there's about a 98% chance that's exactly how that goes down.
Welcome to the dark side, my friend. Welcome to the dark side.
Which, hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for that because what I don't want – and I'm honest. I don't want a 20-point win at Mississippi State, a 30-point win versus LSU, a 10-point win Tennessee, and then all this stuff going the right way, and then you find yourself losing in the Sweet 16.
I'm going to go as far as say if this game happens the way that we think it is going to happen, I don't think we will lose for the rest of the season because this game will be our loss.
Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of let me propose something for you, Mike, before we wrap up this segment here with the Mississippi State game. Obviously, we're not going to know how this develops, how my theory is going to develop for quite some time, and we're going to have a lot of conversation. We're probably going to show a lot of concern. But isn't it kind of the trend of the season that we lose Mississippi State, but we win at Tennessee? That, at the very least, everybody says, okay, there's one more loss coming, and we all think it's at Tennessee. Like, even if you're very optimistic, such as myself, you think there's one more road loss coming, and the consensus would say it's at Tennessee.
Right.
What if it's at Mississippi State, which wouldn't hurt because that's a tournament team.
And they were ranked earlier this year, so
yeah, it's on the road, so it's a loss. Don't get me wrong, but then you go and win at Tennessee.
That's it. That is a loss at Mississippi State a win at Tennessee will outweigh the road loss to Mississippi State.
Oh, well, and I'm going on record. I'm going to say a win at Tennessee will outweigh any road loss remaining.
Yeah,
because let's be honest, even at Missouri, that's a pesky place to go.
Mm-hmm.
At Ole Miss, they're a ranked team. Well, I don't know if they'll be ranked by the time we get there, but they currently are. So, yeah, obviously, if they lose to Mississippi State, we're going to be doom and gloom the post-game show. We're going to be doom and gloom the next week.
Right.
And we're going to be real skeptical when it comes to that Tennessee week. But if we come out going into the SEC tournament with 4 losses and everybody says, especially if you woke up from a coma going into SEC tournament and you was like, how many games can Kentucky lose? And they're like 4. And you're like, oh, was it Duke, Kansas, Auburn at Tennessee? And you're like, no, not really.
Yeah.
It was Duke, Seton Hall, Bama, Mississippi State, all on the road or neutral sites. And you're like, so we beat Auburn, Kansas at Tennessee? Yeah. I'll take that, right?
All right.
I'll take that.
Welcome to April.
I would gladly take that. And ironically, I would feel better about it than if our one loss came at Tennessee because, I don't know, then, Mike, then you get into the part that we always talk about, can you beat a team 3 times?
Yeah.
Because so I think there's also some perk that comes from losing to Tennessee in the regular season. Actually, even though I would hate it, I think there's definitely a perk to losing to them twice because you're not going to lose. I don't think.
I don't see Tennessee beating us 3 times this year.
Yeah, I don't see, but I don't see either team beating the other team 3 times. Right. I think we're so equally matched. Now, obviously, if we played Vanderbilt a 3rd time, I'm fully confident we would beat them 3 times. And then if we met them in the Sweet 16, I think we'd beat them a 4th time. But teams like Tennessee, where you're equally matched, where they have something you don't have, even though you have something they don't have, good luck beating them 3 times.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Any closing thoughts? We're going to move on to another segment. Any final thoughts on recapping of South Carolina, previewing Mississippi State, anything?
Just the only thing about the Mississippi State game that I have. Give me 1 second.
All right. Oh, my.
I'll have to edit that out. Where are we at? 30 minutes? All right. I'll edit that out.
I wouldn't. It's pure. It's pure. I'd let it roll.
Okay.
It's pure. Let it roll, man.
We're good. So
that's the thing. Let me just put this out there. I think that's something that we should embrace, and I hope that I would love feedback from people listening. Look, if you wanted to hear perfect monotone Team A, Team B, Team C stats, there's 1,000 people who do that better than us.
Yeah.
You could go – if you want to hear how – I said this on the postgame show. If you want to hear how Mississippi State lines up in their defense or how they can force you to shoot 24% from the left side of the court, there are much better places from you get your information than us. That's just not really our thing. Our thing is we're you. We're you talking you. You know what I'm saying? We are your casual fan. We get nothing out of promoting anything other. We're going to talk. I said casual fan. I didn't mean that at all. We're your passionate fan. We're going to talk what's on our mind. What happens sometimes is you sneeze. It happens. We're not perfect. We don't have the $1 million budget. We don't have the greatest camera. And yet there's no makeup person. There's nobody saying, hey, don't you dare breathe heavy, because that's who we are. So leave it in there, Mike. Leave this whole rant in there. Mike,
yeah.
And
speaking of that, if you guys subscribe to the podcast, that will help us out. Just a tad.
There it is.
Be sure to go hit that follow and a ranking for
love the plug. What? We did this against Florida and it ended horribly. But let's do it again. Let's do Mississippi State. Bold prediction. Give me the boldest, but yet somewhat realistic. Obviously, the boldest prediction you could have is Tyler Hewer's going for 100, but you don't believe that at all.
No,
give me the boldest you could.
I think the boldest prediction is it is going to be an ugly, ugly game, and we're going to have somebody come off the bench and really spark the team, really get them in the zone. And I'm going to go out on a limb. My bold prediction is say that Jamal Haker is going to be that guy to really spark the team. He is going to come out and score 14 points.
Yes, give it to me. That's why I was thinking I needed it. I was going to think 13, but I was I need the double digits.
Yeah.
Give it to me, Mike. I'm
just
going to...
I really want to see somebody off the bench and really just have a great game, because our bench play has been so bad the last 5 or 6 games. I think our bench total has scored maybe 8 points a game. We need somebody off the bench to really spark this team in this game.
So my problem is, anytime I start to do something like this, my brain, look, I talk fast. My brain goes even faster. So I make a bold statement. Before I'm even done making such proclamation, the opposite has popped in my mind. Like, I want to say, I think Nick Richards is going to go for 15.
There we go.
I want to say that. But, and then the moment I'm explaining that, I'm like, or one of our starters go for 30 plus. PJ or Hero go for 30. And I'm like, do I see that? So
I don't see that happening, because I don't see us scoring over 62 points in the game.
Okay, well,
yeah.
So I think my bold prediction, I think because that is a very good fact, that is a very good case that you're making, that this Poly's not going to go for over 60, or at least not mid-60s, and that our bench doesn't give you a lot of contributions. I don't think both of our bold facts can hold true, but I am going to go Nick Richards 15. I just don't think it's plausible, because let's be honest, if Nick Richards and Jamal Baker are putting up a combined 30 points, we're probably putting up 80.
So the real question arises: what would be more helpful for us in moving forward past this game? Is it going to be Nick scoring, having a great game, or is it going to be Jamal having a great game?
Dude, I hate to cop out on this, but they both bring such. Look, any bold statement that you could make, in my opinion, will help the way this team is set up. If this was another team, you'd get a different answer. But the way this team is set up, where they're so selfless, they're so self-aware, they identify who the hot hand is, they identify who the bold player is, and they go for it. They feed that guy. That any bold statement, if you said Tyler Hero scores 40, I say, yes, that's huge for us. Not like when Malik scored 40 and you're like, he's the only guy that can score. Right. If Tyler Hero scores 40, you're like, yes, because odds are he went like 8 for 10 from three-point line. Mm-hmm. You're like, yes. If Jamal Baker comes in and hits 4 3-pointers and puts up 14 points, I'm like, yes, he's finding his rhythm. If Nick Richards came in and put up 15 points, or he put up a 10-point, 10-rebound game, I'm like, yes. Even EJ, because at this point, there's been teams in the past where either A, you get to this point and you look at a bench contribution and you're like, Cal's not even going to trust that guy come March. Those Anthony Davis teams, or those certain teams, you're like, Cal's not going to trust you, so that don't mean much. Or those teams that were bad and you're like, man, we're going to rely on you to do that again, and you're not going to be level 2. But this team, I'm just like, okay, EJ, I see you. Now put that in your back pocket for a second-round game. When we're playing a team like Indiana or a team like Cincinnati, and our shots just aren't going in because they play some kind of pesky defense. Hey, I remember what you did, EJ. Now's the time for you to shine.
Yep.
So,
well, and my answer to that is, I think Nick would be more beneficial from having a great game off the bench like that, because I think he is going to come back for this next year, and he is going to be our guy. And if he has a great game like this, he has that confidence moving forward, moving into the off season, and then he comes out his junior year and just has a great year.
So if you've looked at it, Cal has had almost everything you could imagine. Hype freshman, be amazing, check. Hype freshman, be trash, check. Dude struggle his freshman year, come back as a sophomore, check. Dude come from the ranks of unknown to be somebody that you be a great player. Shea Gibb, I'm drawing a blank on, Shea from last year. Talking too fast here. Check. Guys, he's had everything. The only thing he really hasn't had was a guy come back for a second or even a third year, or maybe even a second year, and just be elite. The year in 2012, Kansas had it with Thomas Robinson. He just really didn't do anything freshman, sophomore year. But his senior year, he played his way into a top 5 pick. He was a monster. I think he was second in player of the year behind Anthony Davis. That's what I want Nick Richards to be, and that's what I want Cal to get. The guy that comes in and where he is a junior, where he is so battle-tested, he's just the best thing you've ever seen. So fingers crossed. I like where your mind's at on that. Like, Mike, let's slide in a little bit. We're going to go through some rapid fire here, or just kind of some quick takes. Some recruiting coming up. I gave my thoughts on Tuesday that I don't think it looks good for Anthony Edwards to come here. I don't think when these top elite recruits pick this early into the cycle, I don't think it looks good, especially with a team like Kentucky where you could lose 3 guards, you could use 2 guards, you could lose no guards. And I don't think Anthony Edwards is the type of guy that wants to come, and I'm not saying anything against him, but I don't think he's the type of guy that wants to come and compete with 3 potential NBA stars who already have a leg up. What's your thoughts on just that whole recruitment cycle, Anthony Edwards, or any other thoughts?
Yeah, as far as Anthony Edwards goes, I'm going to have to pretty much concur with everything that you said there. Like I said, I don't know him personally. Like, I've seen some highlight tapes of him, and just kind of the things that he's posted on his Instagram and Twitter. Like, he is definitely enjoying the process of saying, yeah, Kentucky, they want me. Florida State, they want me. Georgia, you know, like, he is definitely feeding off of that. But I've seen several posts, several media outlets saying that his family wants him to go to Georgia because he can be a star there. And like that, and then that tells me that all you want out of your college 6-month life that you have here is you want to be the big man on campus. You want to be the star. You want to average 25 plus points per game, and you don't care about winning more than six or 7 games.
Well, I think if he comes to Georgia, I think he'll win like 20 games because Georgia's a decent team. They got Tom Crean, but I will say, Mike, and I don't want to come across harsh on the kid. You got to do what's best for you.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'll be honest with you. If I'm an NBA GM, which I'm not, but if I was, what do I want to see? Now, obviously, Cal gets kids, and he converts them into ball players. He gets them to be the best pro that they can potentially be within 1 year. But if I'm watching a kid who, from all takes, he's a guard, so he's not a big man. He's already pretty developed. I've watched him play. He looks like he's got a big body. He doesn't look like he struggles to. He's not like a Steph Curry type of body. He's got a big body for a guard. If I'm an NBA executive, do I want to watch him go to Kentucky, win a potential national championship? Yeah, he may average 15, 14 points a game, but he was assisted. He got good kickbacks from a nice big man. And if I'm a GM of the worst team in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns, or if I'm or Chicago Bulls or whoever that would be next year, and I'm like, that's great and all, but I don't have that. You know, Anthony Edwards does great when he's got a big man kicking him to open shots. I don't have a big man to kick him open shots. But if he goes to Georgia, and yeah, they play horrible, but the man averages 28 points a game, and he can create, being triple team, double team, and I'm the GM of the Chicago Bulls, I'm like, hey, that's going to happen here. Look how he handled it. I want that. So
yeah, but
I think there is an upside to that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also like seeing a player compete for his spot, and then because like yes, you may have the best top 4 players just like on your team, but at the same time, those best 4 players may not translate to the best 4 players in the NBA. And like every player in the NBA is a top player. So like having bad players around you in the NBA, like and the NBA, isn't quite as much as having bad players around you in the college.
I get it, Mike. I'm right there with you. But then you got to remember the defense is better than any defense you'll place in college.
If you call playing NBA defense, so yeah.
Right, I know. But for the spurts that they actually do, it's the best defense in the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when they actually decide that they're going to do it, it's among the elite.
I agree with that.
And I agree with what you're saying, Mike, but let's check that mindset to 1996 where that mindset belongs. Because now if I'm New Orleans Pelicans and in the 2020 draft I have a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick and there's this Edwards kid, and the kid chose Kentucky, won a national title or went to Duke and won a national title with 3 other top 10 picks, I'm like, I'm about to get Anthony Davis. No, if he goes to Georgia, you're like, hey, This guy went somewhere so he could be his own man and lose 10 and win 10 games. He might stick it out with us. You know, I think that's what teams are starting to get afraid of. If they see you big super teams in college, and I'm careful using that word because it's a little different.
Yeah.
If they see you making super teams in college, I think teams are going to start to say, well, how long am I going to have you?
Well,
because by the time you reach your peak here, are you going to look for another super team?
But also at the same time, you have to learn how to win. So if you go to a big school like Kentucky and you learn how to win at a national championship, you know how to present yourself. And you know, Coach K has a great track record of players in the NBA keeping their nose clean, acting professional, etc. You know, would you rather have a professional on your team, or do you want a 19-year-old kid?
Look, man, you're preaching to the choir because you are spitting straight facts. I buy everything you're selling me right now. I just think I wish I knew these kids personally so they could tell me something in private and they would know that wouldn't come out. Because I would willing to bet Andrew Wiggins, all the big men that's gone to Duke and Kansas and haven't panned out, if I could say, don't you wish you would have came to Kentucky? Or don't you wish you would have stayed for that second year? And I wish in private they'd be like, yeah, bro, because let me be honest, Kansas didn't prepare me. You know, I picked to go, you know, Andrew Wiggins picked to go to Kansas, didn't really develop him. He's kind of struggling in the pros. I don't know if that's just who he is or that he didn't have the right rearing. But I wish in private he would be like, yeah, man, I wish Cal could have taught me some things. So I'm buying everything you're selling. I just think these kids don't realize it. And it looks like GMs too aren't realizing it until it's too late.
Yeah.
That, you know, so. All right, speaking of the NBA, we're going to play a little game here. I'm going to give you 3 players, Mike, and we're going to discuss, you know, back and forth a little bit. Best spot, realistically. We're going to go realistically. Obviously, like Zion Williams to the Warriors isn't a realistic option.
Right.
So, within reason, best spot for 3 players. We're going to start with Keldon Johnson because he's looking like he's going to be a top 5 to top 8 pick. Best spot for Keldon Johnson to be the best player he can be.
So, I mean, speaking of the New Orleans Pelicans, I think he would land great and really fits well there. I mean, obviously, if AD was staying around, but I mean, that's probably not going to happen. But if that does happen in their current situation, how their lineup looks now, I think he would be a great addition to that team. He can spread the court. He can shoot the outside shot. He can also penetrate, pass it to AD. I mean, that'd be a perfect fit for him, I think.
So I'm gonna reach a little bit, kind of like you did there, because a lot of the mock drafts I see have him going to Boston. At face value, that I love the pick. I love seeing him go to Boston.
Yeah.
But at face value, that doesn't match because they already have 3 small forwards,
Right.
and Keldon Johnson plays just like. I'm drawing the blank on number 7 and Jason Tatum. He plays just like those other 2 guys in front of him. Now, let me get a little creative with this. If Boston makes a trade and gives up any assortment of picks or players, and that includes Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, and now you have an Anthony Davis, maybe you still have a Kyrie, and you have that need at a small forward, Keldon Johnson's your guy then.
Yeah. That would be very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's also the case that they trade it to or if Boston trades it to anybody, I would like to see it go to there. Maybe I wouldn't mind seeing it in Phoenix. I know they've been making some moves in trade, but I think Boston's a good fit, but they're going to have to free up some space. Moving on to the next. P.J. Washington, they got him going top 20. I think by the time the draft comes, he'll be a lottery pick, top 14. So kind of do with that as what you will. Best place for P.J. Washington.
Yeah, with the current, you know, like the current layout of the NBA and like where he is projected right now, I don't think LA, the Lakers they're going to make a playoff push. They will end up on the outside looking in this season, and I think he would fit great there because you know they're in need for that dominant post looking guy, and that's what PJ's looking at right now. Like he's looking at that at a very very dominant post on the block guy, and he can also swing out and shoot the three too, just like what's his name, Love does. And they won a championship just like that. So why not like be a fit there?
Hey, look, so let me preface what I'm about to say by saying that I am not a Boston Celtics fan. I just find Boston Celtics being the most intriguing team because the assets they have and the way that Danny Ainge has led that team, they can go down so many roads. Like, for example, they could trade and need a Keldon Johnson. Let's say they don't make any trades and they just hold on to everything and they take somebody at the 8th pick. Well, there's a very good chance they're going to be drafting in the early to mid-20s. Well, let's say they trade up a little bit, and then they get if they don't make any changes to their roster, they need a pretty decent 4. They got a good team that can stretch out, so PJ can really play the role that he plays at Kentucky in Boston. He can step out, shoot a 3. They wouldn't mind. They let Crowder and all those other guys do it. They let Horford shoot 3s. Because PJ Washington reminds me of a young version of what Al Horford is now in Boston. And I think you can start grooming that for the future because, let's be real, you owe Al Horford $30 million next year, and he's getting up there in age. You put P.J. Washington to be that man. Now, this is obviously if you don't get Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
If you don't fill that spot, if you aren't able to
This
pull
is
that
the
trigger
current
on the trade.
NBA roster as it is.
This is just – it doesn't happen because apparently he don't want to go to Boston and he won't stay there. So why waste your assets on that? So if they just draft him there, you have Jason Tatum, you have Kyrie, you have good guards, you're going to spread the court. I think PJ plays really good and he gets a chance to develop, get a ring. And I don't know who I was talking to this about. Maybe it was you, Mike. Maybe it was somebody else. Actually, I think it was when I was talking to Darren on last episode of Big Blue Breakdown. I get Boogie now at Golden State, but I want more Kentucky guys in championship contender roles. So I would love to see him go to a place like Boston. Last one here, Tyler Hero. Where do you see him going?
You know, this one's kind of hard for me because we don't really know. I mean, like I was looking at some mock picks here, and they have him going as high as 10th, or they have him going as low as early second round. So
Right.
So I'm going to kind of pick in the center here, and I want to say San Antonio Spurs. They are kind of
that'd be a good one.
They are kind of in like a rebuild mode. They need some nice young faces, and like you go from Coach, you go from Coach Cal, a great established coach. You go to another great established coach and Coach Popovich. That is a win-win for Hero because you don't have to worry about the media. You don't have to worry about anything. You just go out there and you play ball.
I hadn't even realized that. I haven't even considered that. That is a great thought. I think, he could do great things for Pop. Pop would do great things for him. And I think Popovich would love his attitude. His just come in. You're not you as the opponent aren't expecting much from me, but watch me hit this dagger. I think that could be huge. I think he could play a huge role. He could find himself winning championships and being the next, not the same style, but like guy like Manu, who you're like, how's this guy so good? But he just keeps winning. I'm going to just be real quick here. I think I'm wishful thinking in both. I think he comes back to college, but if he doesn't, hope he falls to Golden State. There's a lot of rumors of their losing KD, losing Clay over the next couple of years. Get you another shooter. Establish that role. Get you a young guy. That's probably wishful thinking on both my parts. We're going to go through here real quick the way we always show. You got us winning versus Mississippi State. LSU
Do
at
I?
home. Give me.
Are you sure I have us beating Mississippi State?
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. LSU at home.
I have us winning that game.
Tennessee at home.
You know, I'm going to flip the pick. I like the way we're playing. I think we're going to come out hot, and we're going to give Vols a loss.
At Missouri.
I still have us losing that game for some reason. Just something about playing in Missouri. It always trips us up.
Auburn at home.
That's a win.
Arkansas at home.
I'm going to pick that as a win as well.
At Tennessee.
You know, I've been going back and forth on this since the last few weeks, but I'm still going to have to go with a loss on on this one. It's just
all right.
It is basically thinking that we're going to play them in the SEC championship championship game, and I'd rather beat them then and then not now.
At Ole Miss.
That's a win.
And Florida at home.
I'm going to have to go with another win on that one as well.
All right, so there you are. Mike, for those listening, Mike's slowly chipping away on them losses. He was consistent with about 8, chipped him down to 6. He's down to 5. That means he would have us going 26-5 with losses at Missouri, at Tennessee. I don't think that hurts us too bad. I think if we can still win the SEC, we're still in line for a 1 seed, or maybe even Louisville coming through the 2 seed. I don't know. I have us sitting with one less loss. I have us sitting at 27-4.
Who's your loss?
I do think it's at Tennessee, but don't be surprised if it's at Mississippi State if we don't get that revenge at Tennessee. Like I said, maybe that's wishful thinking, but I'm going to say that I think that one more loss is at Tennessee. That is it. We've previewed, we've reviewed, we've looked ahead, we've made bold predictions, we've made fools of ourselves. Mike, tell them where they can find us.
Guys, we are out here on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you get your podcast form, we are there. Matthew Lyle is on Facebook Live post-game, usually 30 minutes to an hour after the game is like a lock is over, out there on Facebook Live. That's on the Big Blue Breakdown Facebook page. I go live there Wednesday afternoons just to give you guys a fresh look, some fresh takes. And then we're also up on YouTube. So this podcast gets published to YouTube right as we're done here. So check us out.
All right, great. That is it. Just a quick heads up, Pete, on what Mike said. The Mississippi State game comes on at 1. I'll probably be coming on a little later than that, but I will be interacting with any and all fans. If you're in the Facebook groups I interact with, I'm always talking in there. But it's been great. Another great show by Buck Nasty himself with us. Matthew Lyle, we are out. Big Blue Breakdowns. Go Cats.
Go Cats.